we're going to be talking about LinkedIn newsletters and the advantage they bring to you on the platform. I'm sure you've noticed by now that posting, like if you posted the same thing you posted last year, this year, it wouldn't get anywhere near the same reach and visibility. And that is because LinkedIn's rolled out a new algorithm. It's a bit more sophisticated, but also it's serving LinkedIn more than it's serving us these days. So what it's doing now is it's favoring content more that will keep people on the platform over actual insights. So LinkedIn's done this on purpose. So the content feed will be more competitive, but the newsletter feed, the long form feed, is actually different. It's a different approach. It's almost like a different type of posting. And so we're going to talk about how do you do that? How do you make it profitable? And hi, Charles. Great to see you here. And what we need to do to make it work for us. Before we wrap up today, I'm going to give you a resource to help you grow your newsletter. So let's just start this thing out. If you're joining and you've never met me before, I'm Dean. Don't forget to give me a follow if you've never seen me before, because I do these kind of things every single week to help you grow and be more successful and more productive on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go through, assuming some of you don't know how newsletters work. I'll switch to LinkedIn and show you some of the stuff on LinkedIn at the same time. And then I've got a resource for you at the end there that will help you actually grow that newsletter. Okay, so let's just dig into this. So, right, first off, why should you start a LinkedIn newsletter? You go, Dean, I'm already posting. Why would I add this thing in more? Well, let me just deal with the big ones. Number one, a LinkedIn newsletter allows you to create a deeper connection, a more meaningful connection with your connections. It allows you to create 2 tiers of actual network. You've got your first degree connections and then your subscribers, and they're people who are saying, I want to hear more long form insights from you, Dean, Julie, Andrew, Dave. Hi, Dave. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Julie. Hi, Charles. So it creates a second tier of follower here, and that's why it's important. So it creates a deeper connection and takes people to a next level. That's the first one. Second one is, you know how this works with posts. Posts seem to favor surface level insights. You know this, I know this. If you put a picture of you eating an ice cream in the feed, it will go berserk. But you actually putting something that matters to people, that will make a difference to their business, their lives, their career, and LinkedIn seems like it doesn't want to know. You've seen this, right? You can put a picture of you, putting a tie on, and it will go berserk. But you actually going, this is why you're struggling with an issue, and it seems to like flatline. Different feed, different criteria. Newsletters is about insight, more depth of reading, much longer dwell times. And so it's allowing you to build that kind of trust, that authority position. But it's also a way to stay top of mind. Now, I will explore what this means more later, but for somebody to actively consider buying from you, they need to see you and hear about what you've got to offer 7 or more times, 7 or more. So you think, oh, I've just put out that newsletter and I promoted my new thing. You're going to have to promote it 7 times before people seriously consider buying it. And so with the posting feed, you have no guarantee who's going to see that. So this newsletter allows you to sift your network and find the people who are really interested in the topic, who want way more depth. So it's really, really powerful for you because, selling, getting clients, getting leads is not this one-hit wonder that we all imagine it to be. It's multi-touch. It's a journey. It's not really this kind of bang, I saw that post, I'm in. That's rare. So just why is it better? Why are newsletters better than posting? Now, I don't mean scrap all your posting and only do newsletters. You could, but why is a newsletter better than posting? Well, when you publish your first edition of your newsletter, the very, very, very first one, LinkedIn's going to invite all of your connections to subscribe. All of them. Every time you get a new connection or a new follower, LinkedIn's going to invite them to subscribe. Why would LinkedIn do this? Why would LinkedIn help you in this way? Well, simply put, it serves LinkedIn's purpose. Your long-form content serves LinkedIn's purpose. Why? The one thing that LinkedIn is obsessed about is keeping people on the platform. So you creating a newsletter, which is longer form content, LinkedIn goes, this is great. Dean's publishing a newsletter. It's probably going to be a 1-2 minute read. And why would we not go, hey, do you want connections? Do you want to opt into this? So that LinkedIn can get them spending more time on on your content on the platform. So number one, LinkedIn's notifies subscribers and invites your connections to subscribe. So automatically, it's very easy to make a newsletter work because it's going with the grain of how LinkedIn wants to operate. Second, LinkedIn uses your newsletter as a way to bring people back onto the platform. So when people subscribe to your newsletter, not only will LinkedIn notify them, LinkedIn's going to email them a teaser of your newsletter to try and get them to come back to the platform. So LinkedIn is using your creation to further its goals of retaining users on the platform or recovering users who've not logged in. Then the second part of this is that when you publish a newsletter, LinkedIn automatically creates a post with you. Yeah. So LinkedIn will create that post. So you publish a newsletter and it'll say, right, come on, let's make a post about it. And then your post engagement and your article engagement combine. So now you've got a post and an article being pushed out. So one thing pushed out two ways. So you get way more better analytics, number one. Number two, you get more people reading it. And number three, because your subscribers are reading it and engaging with it, guess what? That amplifies the post version. So now you've got this post and article growing your reach on LinkedIn. Yeah. So you got to think about how powerful this is. Now, there are some pitfalls with doing this newsletter before we get to the monetization, how you make money from it. Yeah. It's very important you understand how you launch because you can make mistakes here and cock it up. And I'll give you an example from my own newsletter. So you really need to understand who this newsletter is for. Now, why am I saying who it's for? Because if you are not clear on that, you can basically struggle to get growth. I had somebody I was chatting to about a newsletter recently, and they said, well, I actually talk about cybersecurity and I'm an executive coach. Two very different things. And they were saying to me, how do I do one newsletter for both? And I said, you can't. And they said, what do you mean? I said, you can't. Not unless the executive coach, the people you are coaching, are interested in cybersecurity. It's very difficult to merge those two together. And if you do try to do that, and I'll just tell you in my northern way of saying it, if you try and do a newsletter that encompasses cybersecurity and executive coaching, and it's not the same audience, this edition will flip their switch, and then the next edition will flip their switch. And as you talk to these people switch off and unsubscribe. It's very, very difficult to talk to two people, two audiences at once. So you have to get really clear. Most of you, by the way, do not need to talk to multiple audiences at once. You often do that because either you don't want to focus or you're worried about, what if I do this and that costs me over here? If you talk to one audience and build a newsletter, it'll go very, very fast. So who's the newsletter for? Now, let me just grab a little drink. This next one, and this is very, very important. You mess this one up, you might as well delete your newsletter and start again. You get one chance at this. When you launch your newsletter, you get one chance. And it is, what are you going to call your newsletter? What are you going to call it? And I'm going to show you this on LinkedIn because it's easier. So when you create that first edition, you have to create a newsletter. Yeah. So let me just show you what that looks like. So hopefully you'll see it on screen. So I go to write article, under the manage here, create a newsletter. I have to give this newsletter a title. Now I give it a title. I say how often I'm going to publish. I do weekly. I've got a client who does daily and they get swamped with leads. I've got a client who does bi-weekly. You have to pick a routine that one works with the lead flow you want, but also works with you can sustain it. If you don't, you annoy people or they lose interest and then they get a new one and they unsubscribe because it's like, what's this? Right? So you have to stick to a routine. And you have to give it a description and a little logo, right? Now, your connections will be invited to subscribe, right? Now, what do they get invited, right? What gets invited? What do they get invited to? The title. That bit there, Dean's thoughts. Now, I'm sure I'm a nice person. I'm sure some people like me for me, but I would take a guess that most people do not give a shit about Dean's thoughts. They do not give a shit about Mavericks Insights, which is my company name, right? They do not care, right? I know this sounds horrible, but you have to accept it. Content consumers are selfish. Right? If I talk about something that people aren't interested in, they are not going to engage with it, consume it, just because I've made the effort, just because I think it's important. They will subscribe based on what's in it for me. And so if you call it Mavericks Insights or you call it Dean's Thoughts, nobody cares. So pick a title that people would care about. Pick a title that people would go, that's worth it. Don't pick a title where they don't have a clue what it's about. So my newsletter, I'll just bring it up again for you. My newsletter is called Win on LinkedIn. So when people follow me, go away LinkedIn. When people follow me, that's what they see. Win on LinkedIn. Now, why does that matter? Because it does what it says on the tin. People can figure out what it is. Now, why is this title so critical? Because that's all they're going to see. When somebody follows you, when somebody connects with you, that's all they are going to see. Win on LinkedIn. Nothing else. No context, nothing else. Do you want to subscribe to Win on LinkedIn? Win on LinkedIn. That's worth a look. So spending a bit of time picking that title is actually probably one of the most important things to the success. Why? Well, obviously new connections, but when you publish that first episode, that first edition, that first one, yeah, all of your connections will only see Dean Seddon has created Win on LinkedIn. Do you want to subscribe? All of your connections. You've got 10,000 connections, say, and you go, I'm going to call it Dean's Thoughts. And so what happens is, guess what? They all get this wonderful little email, little notification. Do you want to subscribe to Dean's Thoughts? No. No thanks. No thanks. No interest to me. And that one opportunity to convert my 10,000 connections in one go to my newsletter is wasted. I've actually told some clients, take copies of all the newsletters, delete their newsletter, and put it up again, because they had 30,000 followers, and because of the shitty title, they got 300 subscribers. We took it down, put it up again. They got 8,000 subscribers, 8,000 subscribers in the first month. That's how important it is. You cock this up, you have to go back to the beginning, because there's a one-hit wonder chance to be able to convert as many of your connections as possible. So those two first things, who's it for? What's it going to be called? And how are you going to make money from it? Now, this is the important one. How are you going to make money from it? And I will go in depth in one of these in a moment. And then the second one is how you accelerate its growth. And I will show you some things you can do to accelerate the growth. There's actually one thing you can do to accelerate the growth, which maybe I'll talk about if there's time at the end. So without this in place, without thinking through how you're going to do it, you will mess this up. So I always talk to people about, first off, what are you going to sell from this newsletter? Who are you going to sell it to? Right? They're pretty critical. And then we come to what we call the magnetic message. What's the angle that aligns both what you're selling to things they're interested in, to useful information that they will want to consume? So there's got to be an alignment between your message and your offer, what you're selling or what you're trying to promote or how you're trying to make money. That's got to be in 100% alignment. If it isn't, you could produce very, very useful content that will not convert into money because the alignment is off. And in my accelerator, we call this the AVP, or the magnetic message, where you go, what am I selling? What's the message that will resonate with them, but actually I can talk about and provide help and advice and practical stuff for them that actually connects. So it's natural steps, basically. So you've got to have all this planned out. Don't think about this, I'm excited, let's launch a newsletter. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to build something that can make you money. Get it right. Get it right. Okay, so how do we make money from it? Right? There's 3 ways to make money from it. And I'll explain each one, but I'm going to focus most of the time on the first one, selling your own offer. And I'll show you some of mine. So selling your own offer. So that's sell what you're doing, right? Quick tip, don't try and sell lots of different things. Keep it aligned with the audience and the topic, because you've got to have your ducks in a row. So if you go, this week I could sell this, and this week, it's all got to connect. And I'll give you an example from my own newsletter. So I've got my LinkedIn newsletter here, and it's called Win on LinkedIn. Now, I've noticed when I don't talk about LinkedIn, I lose people. Even if the topic is relevant, I lose people because it's not about LinkedIn. So that seems really strange to say that. Well, hang on a minute, Dean. No. If I stray off topic, people don't care, because that's why they've come. So I did a post about a lesson you could learn from basically posting from the Oasis concert. So I did this whole piece talking about it, and guess what? I lost 27 subscribers. Now, it's not a lot in the scheme of things with 30,000 subscribers, but I lost 27 because I went off topic. What I could have done is use the Oasis reference and LinkedInified it, and I probably wouldn't have lost people. So every time I go off topic, I lose people. So it's really important that you stay anchored to why people have signed up, and that why they've signed up has to align with what you're selling. If you get these wrong, I've seen loads of people make this mistake. Do you know what? I'm going to do a newsletter about AI tips, and I'm going to sell my coaching or my leadership development off the back of it. What? How does that join up? How does that connect? So your newsletter should be aligned to the pain points that your offer solves, what you sell solves. Now, you might have one big, huge problem, and actually you've got lots of little problems that come out of it. That's fine, because you can tackle all of those little problems. But if you want to sell a solution to the big problem, you have to stay anchored to that big problem in your whole newsletter. Otherwise, you're going all over the place. And we want conversion. If we want conversion, we can't afford to dilute our message, because it's a conversion-focused activity. So selling your own offers is the big one we're going to look at. But my newsletter, for an example, I've been offered like $2,000 to do a series of newsletters, series of editions, 4 editions, to help promote some tools. So $2,000 for 4 editions because I got 30,000 subscribers. So you can build a newsletter where actually your revenue is on the back end. And I'll just tell you something, you may already know this, but a lot of the influencers you see promoting techs and tools on LinkedIn, they're not making their money from their course or program. They're selling their content, they're selling their posts. So they make their money on the back end being paid by brands. So when you see these this ultimate AI tool that helps me 10x my productivity, most of the time, like 90% of the time, they're being paid to promote that. So they're supposed to put that it's a brand partnership. They're supposed to put that it's an ad, and a lot of them don't. But 90% of the time, they're being paid by a company to tell you this tool's amazing. So there's nothing wrong with that. There is if you mislead people and don't tell people you're actually being paid to do it. In fact, in the UK, there's a law that you have to do that. But you can build up a newsletter, and I'll give you some examples where you basically just sell an edition. Obviously, you have to do it with integrity. You wouldn't just sell your space to any old shit. You'd have to test the tool or test the whatever it is to really kind of know that it's something you can ethically and back and support and recommend. But it's a perfectly legitimate way to do it. And there are platforms where you can go and sell that, but you need to build an audience around that. So that's the first one, getting paid to sell it. Now, the other way some influencers do it, particularly if you've got niche audiences, and you don't have to be an influencer if you've got a very niche audience, what they call micro creators, where they've got a very small, highly engaged audience and it's very focused. So like, I don't know, cybersecurity leaders, for an example. You can basically do affiliate partnerships where you get a commission for every sale you get. Perfectly legitimate business. And you can build a newsletter and basically make money on the back end, where you review a tool, you review a story, you recommend something, and you get paid for every person who either clicks, every person who buys something, you'll get a commission for. Perfectly legitimate way to do it, but they are 3 very different business models. If you think about it, selling your own offers, that's obviously the most lucrative in many cases, but you may not have that. The paid sponsorships, that you need to build the newsletter up to get there, but the affiliates you could start straight away. Now, some creators will do a mix there. So some weeks they'll be promoting their own offer, and some week they'll be promoting tools or tech, and that's fine too. But what you do need to remember is it all has to be aligned. If I'm talking about LinkedIn this week and then next week promoting a tool for Instagram, that's not going to fly. So you have to keep it all aligned. But most of the tools and technologies, pretty much with affiliates and paid sponsorship, it's usually in a B2B market, tools or tech of some kind. There are other ways to do it, but it's usually one of those. You can go to the websites of some of those tech platforms, and somewhere buried at the bottom of their website, there will be affiliates or partnerships, and you can look in there and apply there. Okay, so how do you make money for it? I'll just break down, and then I'm going to focus in on the how to sell your own offer, because that's probably, for most people, the most important. So I'll give you an example here. So for a sponsorship one, you need high engagement and a niche audience. So by that, I mean, I don't mean like 1 million subscribers, but I do mean that those subscribers, your engagement rate with those subscribers is high. How do you know that? Well, your newsletter analytics will tell you. So I'm getting a 25% open rate, 13,000 impressions, lots of shares and sends, so you can see what your engagement rate is on your stats. If you want to sell it, yeah, that's what you have to think about. So let me give you an idea of what that looks like. So you could do a newsletter, which is tech tools for small business, and each edition you could demo a tool and put your links in there for them to sign up and buy the tool. Now, here's the great thing about the newsletter, and I'll just flick for a second back to LinkedIn. I shouldn't have come off that presentation because I can just do it this way. Yeah. Inside your newsletter, you may not realize this, but the other thing you can do is instead of just writing copy, you can actually embed videos in there as well. So you could, if you preferred, kind of link this up with a YouTube strategy where you record a video, transcribe it, put the links in there, but then actually have the video there as well and put your affiliate links or your sponsorship links in both. So in other words, you've got the video version and the text version. Both have the links of where they can go and buy, but you can see how actually you could put the video in as well. I tend to do that, but not so often because I want to just build the newsletter here. So that's a really simple way to do it. And it actually doubles up. If you're trying to build your presence on YouTube, that actually doubles it up. You could also, by the way, embed a Spotify podcast. So you could build a podcast with a LinkedIn newsletter. I know I'm confusing things a little bit here, but it can be, hey, I've got the text version, I've got the podcast version, I've got the video version, all the links to the sponsorship where they click to sign up and try something are there. But now you're getting a double whammy because you've got a podcast, you've got a video, and you've got the article, and LinkedIn's pushing those for you. So there's a good one. Everybody's still with me here, right? I've not bored you to death here. I've got another 15 minutes, then we'll do Q&A if anybody's got any questions. The affiliate version is pretty much the same. The difference is you're getting paid a commission rather than a fee. That's easier to start with because there's lots of tools and tech and platforms and things that will allow you to do that. So, you could go to a lot of the things you already know of, and they've probably got that already. So the affiliate one is kind of a done deal. That's like exactly the same. So you can replicate it. It's just the revenue model slightly different. Now this middle one, right? So this middle one is probably where most people, it matters. So if you're selling your own offers, number one, remember that it's not about one-hit wonders. This is a rhythm, yeah? People don't buy because of a one-hit wonder. They buy because of a rhythm. They've seen it here, 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 here. And as we say, familiarity breeds fondness. So your newsletter, yeah, if you think about it as like a messaging strategy, that's all it is. You've got your big pain point that your offer, what you're going to sell, solves. Break that down. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll show you how I do it with my accelerator members. Very often, we run out of content ideas, not because we don't have anything to say, but because we don't have a structured way to communicate it. So this is what the AVP is. And basically, you have a problem. And for my audience on LinkedIn, it's small business owners selling their knowledge or expertise, and they're struggling to get leads and clients. What they want is to consistently get clients who want to work with them. So they just want leads and clients, right? And then what I've done is, not in full detail, I've broken down not that problem, I've broken down what they might be seeing or observing day to day. So like, I'm sending messages, but nobody's replying. I've got loads of great connections, but they don't seem interested in what I do. I'm observable problems that they see, not these theoretical corporate jargon ones, things that they might see day to day. And I'm writing them down into the current state and then going, okay, if they're seeing right now that they've got loads of prospects in their network, but they're not responding to their messages, they obviously want to get more response from their network, get more engagement with their network. Okay, let's pick a problem out of that and solve it. How do you get more responses to your messages? Yeah. Why you've got loads of connections that are not converting. I just answer things about that little issue that they can see. So it's not the big problem I'm tackling. It's all lots of little tiny ones. And I'm just delivering on those little tiny ones. It's hard to do because often we don't want to write the stuff down and we don't want to spend the time to do it, but that's where it matters. So I write all these problems down and what I call observable problems, things that are happening in their current state right now. They're happening right now, day to day. They're seeing it. It's observable in their day to day. Yeah. So it's not like they don't have a LinkedIn strategy, because nobody's going, yes, I don't have a LinkedIn strategy. They're going, why am I posting and nobody's engaging with it? Why am I messaging and nobody's getting leads? Why have I sent, what is the best message here? I feel like this message isn't working. Am I sending the messages at the wrong time of day? All of those things become article topics, right? To solve. And there's two ways to solve those things. There's the help them think more clearly version, and there's help them do something about it now, like a 15-minute fix. So I'm constantly, I don't always get it right, thinking about how can I help them see the problem more clearly, or can I give them a 15-minute fix? It's one or the other. More clearly or 15-minute fix. That's the key to all of this. Figuring out, am I doing a 15-minute fix or am I helping them think more clearly? It's one or the other in each newsletter. So I've got to align all of my articles with those observable problems, observable frustrations that they've got. And I either give them a 15-minute fix, in other words, something they can do right now that would make it better. It doesn't have to solve the entire big thing like, oh, I need to raise $1 million tomorrow. Okay, I can't help you. That's impossible to do in 15 minutes. But maybe I could give you an overview to help you think more clearly about it. Or maybe I could give you a quick way to test if your pitch deck for investors is right. And there's a checklist in there. That's helpful. 15-minute fix. I can do that in 15 minutes. It's going to help move me on. So 15-minute fix or help them see it more clearly. One or the other. And it all linked to the big pain point I'm solving. So I could do small business owners struggling with motivation and productivity. Okay, can I help them see where they waste their time more? Could I give them a way to structure their day? Simple way to structure their day. Could I give them a way to beat procrastination? Could I give them a framework? There's loads of things I can do then, because that's the core big problem. And I break it down into the little things that are going on in their day and solve those little things in the day in 15 minutes or help them see it more clearly. Hopefully this is making sense. Now we get to the other big bits. How do we promote ourselves from that? Well, I'll show you some of these in a second, but there's banner adverts, client stories, and now this is a really good thing, right? There's a really cool way to do this. If you go, right, my clients struggle with productivity and they often struggle with keeping up with emails. Okay, I've coached some people in solving that problem before. Why don't I turn my client's story with a practical framework into an actual article? So what I'm doing is taking my own examples of a problem a client faced and not going, hey, I'm amazing, look how wonderful I am. I'm actually just using the client story to frame it. So I give them the 15-minute fix through the lens of one of my clients. Not to hard promote, because the subtle thing is, the read between the lines moment is they go, oh, Dean's helped other clients fix this. Maybe Dean's client's good. Maybe I could be Dean's client. So client stories are a great way to frame this, a lens to communicate things. Another good lens is to communicate how you solved this problem for yourself. Helps go, oh, you solved this before. So you can do banner ads, and I'm going to show you them in a moment. Client stories are a great subtle way to do it, and repeated CTAs. And I'll show you what I mean in that. In other words, a consistent CTA. So let me just again flick to LinkedIn. I feel like I'm probably making you a little dizzy here. Right, so what I do with my articles, not all the time, but I do in most, is I've obviously got 5 frameworks that will instantly improve your LinkedIn writing. And then I've written the article and actually delivered the structure. Oh, look, inside my actual accelerator, I've got, inside my newsletter, I've got a banner ad for my Social Selling Accelerator. So I'm inserting, just like you'd go to a news website or a whatever, and you get little banner ads, I'm putting my own banner ads into my own newsletter. So people can click through and literally go, what is this accelerator? And they can read up on it and find out if it's relevant for them, all that kind of cool stuff, right? So that's the first thing. Yeah, banner ads. Now, I wouldn't put a banner ad all over the place, but I would try and get one banner ad in your newsletter, right? Now, obviously, I can put stories in there and case studies and examples, but then the other thing you want to do is at the end of this newsletter, always give people next steps. Always give people next steps. So I've got my accelerator, my email newsletter, Signal, which is over on Substack, because I want to get people there as well. And then I've got a call to action to say, come and ask me questions, because I want to converse with people. This is just a simple structure, but why this works is every pub edition is anchored to that core problem you solve. It's just all spin-off little issues. So people, if they suffer from that major problem, you're just picking off the observable issues they can see because of it. So the topics are always relevant to the pains. And then you're giving people either 15-minute fixes or changing the way they think about it, helping them see it more clearly. And you're putting your own CTAs into it. How easy is that? How easy is that? Now, there's some other things that you can do to accelerate the growth of this. And I have got a little download you can do. I'll put it on screen in a minute. You can go grab it. But the other thing to think about when you're thinking about this newsletter is something really powerful. And I haven't mentioned it properly here yet, but I will in a second. This is the download you can go grab. It's a little checklist of ways you can promote your newsletter and grow it. So if you want to QR code it or whatever, screenshot it, you can go get it later. If you can't screenshot it because of the resolution of streaming, just message me and I'll send it to you. So here's my key point, right? And this is powerful. Unlike your posts, your LinkedIn articles, and your LinkedIn articles from your newsletter, your editions of your newsletter, are indexed in Google. So they're indexed in Google, and AI reads them too. So if you want to build up your thought leadership on AI, because a lot of people are now searching through AI, and if you want to build up your traffic from Google, getting it to your website is a different story, but you can pull people from Google. You want to produce articles that align with the keywords that get top traffic. So there are some really good tools like Answer the Public. I think one's called Ask Socrates. You can use SEO keyword tools as well, but answer the questions people are searching for. And I'll just show you a way I do it. I know I've done a lot here today. So if you found this valuable, please do, come and follow me and do all that stuff. So we'll go LinkedIn newsletter. So I can go to Google. Yeah. And then you see here, people also ask, what is a LinkedIn newsletter? Are LinkedIn newsletters worth it? How many followers do you need for a LinkedIn newsletter? What's the difference between a newsletter and a post on LinkedIn? Right? And when I click it, it will actually give me more. How often should you publish a LinkedIn newsletter? These are literally the things that you could do. If that was your topic, LinkedIn newsletters, or let's go executive coaching, What is the average cost of an executive coach? How much is executive coaching in the UK? How much does executive earn in the UK? You can look through these and go, these are what people are asking. Give them what they're asking. And because you're doing it through your LinkedIn newsletter, you're leveraging LinkedIn's domain authority as well. Yeah. I'll give you one more thing, and it's a bit weird. I haven't plucked up the courage to do it yet, but I am going to do it. And I'll tell you because this is me being accountable to you. So I am one of the biggest social sellers. This is me being Billy Big Bollocks. I am one of the most well-known. I train more people on social selling than anybody else on the planet. I've trained about 11,000 people in person, about 80,000 people through online. I've got anywhere in the world on a Wednesday and a Thursday, there is my company's training people in social selling. Somewhere in the world, every single day, every single Wednesday and Thursday, in person, that's happening. So I'm going to claim the #1 social selling coach. I'm going to claim that title. Now, I'm telling you, I've got a point here in a minute. I'm going to claim that title on three bases. #1, I have trained more people than anybody else. #2, I have been doing this for 11 years. #3, my company is the biggest social selling training company in the world. So I'm going to claim that title. Now, why am I bragging to you about this? Because what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to, at the very bottom, create a little bio saying, who is Dean? Dean is the #1 social selling coach for LinkedIn, for B2B business, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put it in every LinkedIn newsletter. Why? Because ChatGPT and Google Gemini and all these will be reading these articles. And when people start searching about who should I follow about social selling, who will they find? Dean is the #1 social selling coach. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get called out for who, I've got more followers than you, Dean, so I should be, well, sorry, I train more people. So that means I'm a bigger and more number one coach more than you. So I'm going to claim that title. But you see why I told you that. Well, personally, I told you for accountability's sake, number one. Number two, I told you because you should be writing a bio in the bottom of your LinkedIn newsletter so that people have a flavor of who you are, and you're training Google, you're training all these platforms to say, Dean is this or you're that. I'm all talked out now. So look, if you want the little 6 ways to grow your LinkedIn newsletter, you can scan the QR code or just drop me a DM on LinkedIn and I will send you the link in the DMs. The other thing I've got that I'm bringing out, if you'd like, again, message me. We're only launching it next week, and basically it's a custom GPT we built that will take your ramblings and draft it in one of the most engaging, one of the 5 or 6 different types of engaging formats, and give you a draft. And it's got pre-built checks in it to stop it churning out waffle. So it's free if you buy the course, which is like $39, and we train you how to use it. So you can keep it forever. So it's not like $39 a month. It's not out yet, and it won't be out till Monday. But if you want it, message me, and I'll send you to the link when it's ready to go out. But I use this all the time myself. So I ramble into my phone, voice notes into my phone, paste the transcript, and then it drafts it up as an assistant would. And I just go in and go, yeah, I like that, I like that, I like that. But it's already pre-structured to the formats that work. So if you'd like to have a look at that, message me. It'll come out on Monday, and first come, first served on it. You can use it forever. There's no ongoing cost to it. It's yours forever. Steve, brilliant. Just make sure that you do the work on that title, because it is exciting. There's loads of opportunities, but you want to make sure the title's right, because you only get that one chance to convert those followers. I'll just mention something else while I'm waiting for some questions as well. Some people ask, should I produce multiple newsletters for different topics? And I would say be very, very careful with doing that, because LinkedIn will promote the first newsletter you create to people. So it's not going to promote and give people options or promote both. It will promote one or the other. Eva, I'll drop you a message after the session as well. So be very careful about trying to create multiple newsletters, and also understand your own bandwidth here, right? Trying to create one newsletter and stick to it is a commitment. Getting excited about doing 2 or 3 or 4 is, tough. Dave, I'd love to say I plan ahead, but I'm a bit of an emotional writer. It is my Achilles heel because I want to write what I feel. That rhymes. It is a terrible habit, and I would not recommend anybody go down the route of writing what you feel, because you will never get it done on time. So I'm trying to get better. I'm now 2 or 3 in front of myself, but don't write what you feel. Plan it out. Jeffrey, you got a good question. Is there an AI that evaluates which title is better? I'm going to give you an honest answer, Jeffrey. It's really hard, but I can give you some tips on title structures. Titles should always create. I'm going to say something provocative in a minute. AI is not very good at a couple of things: hooks and titles, because AI cannot understand human curiosity. And if you think about it, your title is not just a promise, it's curiosity, to get people to click, to get people to open. And AI is not very good at that. Even the custom GPTs are not very good at that. That said, what I would do is spend some time just going around and looking at structures of titles, but atypically things with numbers in. things with emotionally charged language works well. And things that reference either mistakes or outcomes work well. So that's the big ones. The other thing I would say, and I hate saying this because I know some people might take it the wrong way. 80% of your success with titles, or your success with titles, something you have to remember is titles are 99% clickbait. And I know you don't like that saying. I don't like that saying either. In other words, they are there and their job is to hook people in to read. Now, a lot of clickbait, the reason I say 99% is because a lot of clickbait hooks you in for something misleading. They mislead you into clicking because actually, you'll never believe what Charles said to the Queen before she died. And then it's like, he asked her what the weather was. And it's like, you've disappointed people. You've misled people. 99% clickbait is, I'm going to create that kind of drama, that kind of newspaper headline style thing, but actually stop short of misleading people and actually deliver on it. But, long-winded titles, complex titles don't get people to click. You've got to grab their attention in seconds and get them to see this is worth my time. Andrew said, as yet, my follower count is low. Any guidance on increasing this, as newsletter will have low audience at first? True. Andrew, what I would do is start drafting those articles and not publish them yet. And what I would do is actually start to grow your network. So let's say you're thinking about your newsletter and you're thinking, actually, I want COOs. I don't know whether this is the right people, or customer leveraging operational and customer excellence. So let's say you want COOs or customer success or whatever roles you are. Start just going to your second degree, put the job titles in you're looking for, put the locations, industries, things like that, and start just connecting with second degrees. The weirdness of connecting with strangers is over now, so you can just do it. 10 a day, 10 a day, 10 a day, with no plan to pitch them, just that I'm building a crowd ready for the newsletter. And the great thing is then they'll opt in, they'll vote with their feet, and they'll come into your newsletter. So I would start that daily routine, and I do this now. Even now, with nearly 78,000 people following me, I grow my network every day. I look through my network and see who's no longer relevant, who's retired, died, who's changed industries, no longer relevant to me, clean that up, and then I add some new people in there. So I'm constantly refreshing my network. One of the things people miss about LinkedIn is that people slowly become less and less relevant. I connect with you today, or you connect with me today. You might change jobs next month. You might forget LinkedIn and go to Instagram. You might become less and less relevant. You might make millions and retire and don't care about LinkedIn anymore. So you have to kind of look after your network and keep pruning it and refreshing it, because people lose interest, people lose relevance, all that happens. And I did this a couple of years ago. I didn't do it for a long, long time. And I did a search, and about 8,000 of my connections were no longer my ICP. 8,000. Yeah. So I slowly but surely pruned back. It took me ages. Pruned back, and grew, pruned and grew. So it's good practice to kind of look after your network. Okay. Jeffrey, the AI writer, the writing assistant, the newsletter assistant will help you with titles a little bit. I just want to be cautious. So it will help you write the titles, but AI just generally is not good with curiosity or trying to create that kind of mystery, interesting mystery, because it's a human emotional thing. It's not a logical thing. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on. If you found this valuable, please do feedback, follow, If you've got more questions that you didn't want to answer in the chat, you can drop me a DM. I'll happily answer them. And then on Monday, I will release the AI newsletter writing assistant. If you want it, I'll drop you a message about it. I'll drop you an email about it. Grab it and get prepped, get writing. Like I said, the way I use it is I dictate what I want to say because I find that easier. And then I just dump the transcript in there and it sorts it all out for me and without gobbledygook AI nonsense. Gives me a draft that I can just tidy up. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm back next week. I can't remember what I'm talking about next week, but next Friday, every Friday, 2:00, I do these sessions. So follow, do all that stuff, and you'll see them. Have a great rest of your week and see you later.